sponsored by CCIA.
Closed captioning for News 12 is brought to you by Kenneth Nugent. From the station that's on your side, News 12, first at 5, continues.
Funerals begin in Texas today for the 19 children and 2 teachers shot and killed. That's as a memorial grows outside the school where the tragedy happened.
But first up, a major announcement for revitalizing a part of Augusta that's been neglected for decades. The old Regency Mall is empty, falling apart, and rusting, but leaders and developers have some new plans for it. The inside of the old mall was gutted and sealed up because people were actually sneaking inside.
Yeah, causing damage. Several months ago, crews were demolishing parts of the mall, but that work just seemed to stop. Our Kennedy Harris gives us a look at the new project that could explain why that was the case.
It's been an eyesore for so long, more than a decade. When we first saw this demolition start back in October of 2020, everyone had a feeling something was coming. And now we're finally getting a look at what. It's called Cardinal Town Square. The plan is to use the existing structure of the mall to create a performing arts theater, a fitness center, academic center, and grocery store. Outside the structure, they'll build thousands of apartment units and restaurant space. Regency is privately owned, and so far the plan is for this project to be totally funded by the owners. They wouldn't tell us a price tag, but the Economic Development Authority chairman says it'll be significant, likely the largest mixed-use development project in Augusta history. It's been submitted to the Augusta Planning Department for approval, and next it'll go to the commission. All that might take 6 to 8 weeks, and many commissioners were present for the announcement. Just like us, they were excited to see something being done at Regency.
When you look at South Augusta, we always talk about the potential that's there. Now we're starting to see what the potential could actually look like.
Now this plan started a little over a year ago, but Regency has been empty for decades. So what sparked this momentum? We'll take a closer look at that tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock. Reporting from Regency, Kennedy Harris, on your side.
And we'll keep watching. Thanks for that, Kennedy. Taking a look outside at the
about 10 minutes, guys.
All right, thank you, Anthony. We want to show you new photos now just into our newsroom of the Martinez fire that killed a 10-year-old boy. All of this happening on Sarah Creek Court around 2 this afternoon. Officials tell us crews had to force their way inside the home where there were 3 children inside. They found 2 kids in an upstairs bedroom. We're learning those kids are 10 and 11 years old. They say at first they weren't able to find the 3rd child because of the extent of the fire. The coroner says that boy is 10 years old and his name is Nicholas Mai. When they got the fire extinguished, they found him in a couch, behind a couch rather, in a downstairs living room. They took him to Doctors Hospital. They say the children's parents later got there. They were actually following the ambulance to the hospital, but that is where the 10-year-old was pronounced dead. So tragedy there in Columbia County this afternoon.
Members of our community coming together to mourn the loss of those 19 children and 2 teachers in the Uvalde school shooting in Texas. They're going to be outside the Thompson-McDuffie County Government Complex starting this evening at 6:30 for this community vigil. They're calling it collective action against gun violence, and they say the first step here is prayer, but then they say it's time to get to work.
What I'm trying to do, what the sheriff is trying to do, is prevent that tragic loss. So, it just really brings the picture of what we're up against, what the community's up against. But if we come together and address this problem, we're going to attack it head on.
They say it really hits home in McDuffie County, and because McDuffie and Uvalde have a very similar demographic, population size is about the same, and no community, they say, no community is immune to the same situation. So folks are going to be doing what they can to honor the lives of those lost across the country and at home to gun violence. The sheriff's office starting to work with the district attorney now, trying to prioritize getting illegal weapons off the streets, working with schools and the rest of the community. Coming up here on News 12 at 6 o'clock, Sloan O'Cone live at that vigil with more on that story.
A live look now at a growing memorial for those who lost their lives in that tragedy in Texas. And 2 10-year-old girls are being remembered and laid to rest there today.
They're the first of 21 funerals that will happen in the coming days. Lilia Luciano is there with the story.
Mourners arrived at the funeral mass for Emery Jo Garza. She and 18 classmates were killed alongside 2 teachers in their 4th grade classroom 1 week ago today. 10-year-old Maite Rodriguez will also be laid to rest today.
Because she looks like nothing happened to her. She looks like she died at peace. We all know the reality.
Investigators say their teacher, Eva Mireles, died shielding her students from the gunman. The dog lover, mother, and wife to a police officer knew to protect. She was finishing her 17th year of teaching. As the shooting unfolded, a family member texted Eva in a group chat asking if she was okay. There was no response.
I never in my dreams thought that my sister was not going to make it.
The Department of Justice has launched a review to understand why it took law enforcement 75 minutes before going into the classroom to stop the shooter. The review is not a criminal investigation, but an opportunity to learn critical lessons for the future.
Officials announced last week the school district police chief held officers outside the classroom even as students were calling 911 because he believed there was no one left alive in the room to save. Today, officers with Customs and Border Protection came to the memorial outside Wrdw Elementary School to lay a wreath, many clearly shaken. Also at the memorial, actor Matthew McConaughey, who grew up in Uvalde. There will be 9 more funerals this week and the rest in the weeks to come. Lilia Luciano, CBS News, Uvalde, Texas.
The tragedy in Uvalde is inspiring so many people, maybe even you, wanting to help in any way that you can. The Better Business Bureau has some advice on making sure that if you want to donate, that your donation goes to the right place. They are suggesting to watch out for vague appeals for money, ones that don't say how that money will be used. If you're giving to a crowdfunding site, remember, some sites vet postings, others do not. If a post on one of those sites claims to pass along money to a charity, it is probably safer if you just give the money to the charity directly.
The coroner releasing the names of 2 people shot and killed at a large party over the weekend in Washington County. 17-year-old William Lowry, 30-year-old Christopher Dunn shot on Sunday. The shooting happened at a themed party with more than 1,000 people at the Larry Mitchell Park in Sandersville. The sheriff's telling us they believe the shooting started because of some sort of argument that broke out at the party, and then gunshots erupted. So far, no one's been arrested, but the sheriff says they do expect some arrests soon.
The Augusta Public Service Committee just...
A local elementary school owes a lot to a teacher who's been there since the 70s. How they're taking a moment for a grand goodbye. Ahead, first to 5.
And we're going to keep an eye on some warm temperatures over the next couple of days, feeling closer to 97 degrees by Thursday. And tomorrow is the first day of the Atlantic hurricane season. Just on cue, we have a tropic system in the Gulf to keep an eye on. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Anthony. They say a good teacher can change.
Maybe a few isolated showers on Saturday, depending on what that system does, but no direct impacts from that tropical system here locally. And we're going to stick to those lower 90s as we go through portions of Monday and Tuesday, with temperatures right around 91 to about 93 degrees.
All right, thank you, Anthony. They say a good teacher can change everything. One Aiken County teacher has changed a lot of lives over her 44 years teaching.
Can you even imagine? And now she's retiring. As our Will Volk shows us, she got quite the send-off.
It's a surprise.
I didn't realize it was going to be like this. It's really special to have this many people caring about me and this many people who supported me through my whole career.
Rosemary Quarles touched a lot of lives in her 44 years at Belvedere Elementary. Right before her last day ever, the school invited people from those 44 years. At a retirement reception, the hellos kept coming.
Oh, thank you so much.
Even during our interview.
Congratulations.
Oh, sweet boy. Thank you for coming. God called me to teach, and it's been something that he prepared me for and something that has been so fulfilling, and it was just a gift from God.
She says the last day of school is always emotional, but this one will be even more.
You're hugging them, you're telling them you love them, and that you'll miss them, and that you'll see them next year, but this year I'm not going to say I'll see you next year. I'll see you sometime.
When next year comes around, it'll be different.
I'll be really happy not to set that alarm clock, but I sure will miss getting ready for the new year, and I'll miss having a new group of children.
And Belvedere Elementary will miss her, too. In Belvedere, Will Bolt, on your side.
It's an impossible goodbye. She won't go to a restaurant or go shopping without another reunion.
That's true.
And another goodbye.
That's true.
Because that's the way teachers are.
Yep.
Her last day in the classroom is tomorrow.
Yeah. Wow, 44
Can you
years
imagine?
of teaching.
What has changed since the 70s? Everything.
Yeah, and no doubt she taught some, members of the same family.
So many people.
So many people, so many memories. Gosh. In nearly every mass shooting, the gunman shares what they plan to do on social media. So why is that information not shared with police in time to stop it? Fair question, but Jamie Tucker attempts to answer that coming up.
The Live Bike anti-glare lenses and same-day service for only $79.
Law enforcement, privacy officials, tech companies trying to navigate a world where gunmen sometimes share plans of a mass attack on social media.
Gunmen who killed innocent people and children in both Buffalo, New York, and Uvalde, Texas, bragged about their plans beforehand, but no one took action. Jamie Tucker takes a look at why.
Now, why are social networks quick to pull posts about COVID-19 or politics, yet a gunman can use social media to brag about plans to shoot up a school, and those posts go unnoticed until it's too late? That's a fair question. First, there are hundreds of social media networks. The shooter in Uvalde reportedly used the Ubo app. Buffalo shooter posted plans on Discord and Twitch. Social media platforms monitor posts, but with hundreds of thousands of posts per day from millions of users, algorithms are seldom effective. Algorithms that flag pictures of guns are problematic since responsible gun owners post their photos for enthusiasts. On Instagram, there are dozens of hashtags encouraging users to show off their guns. Law enforcement cannot see private messages and chats. So social networks do work with police, but only after police request information. The social networks do not alert police about any suspicious activity. The shooters normally use messages and chats that are encrypted, meaning the photos and chats are kept only on the phone sending and receiving the post. Monitoring social media posts for suspicious and concerning content is left up to other users. If you see something particularly troubling, take a screenshot of the post. Don't just report it to the social network platform, but report it to police and show them the post. Also, report it to the FBI through its online tip tool. Just as you would do in an airport or a public place, if you see something, say something. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
You'll find the FBI tip line at FBI.gov. Social network platforms such as Facebook work with police and will provide information after a warrant is filed. In some cases, that response is sped up if they believe there's an imminent threat.
Shifting gears now, workers in a Sonic fast food kitchen run for the door after finding an intruder hiding behind the deep fryer. The culprit was a snake. A police lieutenant in Brunswick says those employees of a Sonic drive-in were huddled in the parking lot when he rolled up. One look was all it took to realize the intruder was actually a non-venomous ball python, not a rattlesnake. The police officer found the large snake a new home with a friend. He suspects the python was probably a pet turned loose by its former owner, but Sonic was having no part of it. They wanted to get out of there. All the orders on hold.
That would have been me. I would have been like, nope, no, I'm gone.
The NCAA College World Series kicks off this week. The league just announcing the regional brackets last night.
Yeah, sports director Nick Proto is here with a look at this year's tournament and a local face on the college baseball biggest stage.
For the first time since 1973, neither Clemson nor South Carolina made this year's tournament. The Gamecocks have missed 4 tournaments in the last 8 years. Clemson missing back-to-back for the first time since the 80s. But enough about who's out. Let's talk about who's in. Georgia Southern making history this year. The Eagles are hosting a regional for the first time in program history. They're the 16th overall seed. They'll play UNC Greensboro, Notre Dame, and Texas Tech. Meanwhile, former Greenbrier star Chase Dollander is leading top-seeded Tennessee in Knoxville. Dollander was named SEC Pitcher of the Year this season, going 9-0 with a 2.22 ERA for the Vols. They'll host Alabama State, Georgia Tech, and Campbell in their region. And the Dogs get back to the tournament after missing out last season. They head to Chapel Hill to play UNC, Hofstra, and VCU. And just announced this evening, Clemson is parting ways with head coach Monty Lee. Lee has been coach of the Tigers for the last 7 seasons, despite making 3 regionals in Lee's time, despite hosting 3 regionals this time, I should say. Clemson has never made it to the super regional stage of the College World Series. Assistant coach Bradley LaCroix, director of operations Brad Owens will oversee things until the school finds a new head coach.
Soon to come, the Georgia Cancer Center teaming up to try to lower rates. We're going to get to that. Plus the weather, Anthony.
Oh yeah, we're going to be talking about some warm temperatures, guys, over the next couple of days. 97 by Thursday, and the chance for a few afternoon showers. We'll look at that forecast coming up next.
The WRDW News app on your Roku, Amazon Fire, or Apple TV store. Even if you cut the cord, you don't have to lose your local news. Just type in or search WRDW, and you got your local news, first alert weather, sports, and more for free.
All right, currently radar does show a few isolated showers across the CSRA, so keep an eye on our First Alert Weather Team app, and you can download that and track the showers and storms that form throughout the rest of this evening. But once the sun goes down, we should be on the drier side, and temperatures going to be cooling out of the 80s and 90s and falling back into the 60s by tomorrow morning. Some summer-like heat is in store for us as we go through tomorrow through about Friday, 95 to about 97 degrees. So going to be on the toastier side, and another chance at some showers and storms as we go through the afternoon on Friday. Looking drier for the weekend, 90s for both Saturday and Sunday, and some lower 90s as well for both Monday and Tuesday.
News 12 at 6 o'clock begins after a short break. We'll see you then.